What is happening on the interwebs, guys and gals? This is your maestro of mediocrity, vonToddenstein, back with another Dead by Daylight video for beginners. In my first video, I used the game against Spirit to highlight some on-screen information and its meaning. I received feedback that players could learn this information by simply playing the game. While this might be true when playing with friends or getting tips from various resources, the type of information I am providing is not available in-game, so I am providing it here for true beginners that might want some super simple help in this complex game. In this video, we're going to look at a game against Nightmare, a complex killer with more perks and skills available. As in the last video, we're going to look at the scoreboard first as a means of knowing what happened, and then we're going to look at some action to see how various skills came into play. Looking at the scoreboard, we can see that Nightmare killed 3 out of 4 survivors. The icons show that 1 was killed by Hook and the other 2 were killed by Nightmare's hand, due to the memento mori. We'll get to this later. There are many perks to examine with all the players, but I will focus on my perks and the killer perks for the purpose of this video. I was a rank 13 Claudette, running the following perks. Tier 3 Spine Chill, which triggers when the killer is looking your way up to 36 meters. It also increases your action speeds, but at a cost of increased skill check probabilities and reduced skill check zones. Tier 3 Self Care, which allows self-healing without a medkit, although at a 50% speed reduction, but increases healing item efficiency by 20%. Tier 3 Botany, which increases healing speeds by 33%. And Tier 3 Empathy, which allows me to see dying and injured allies up to 128 meters. I also carried a common toolbox which has 16 charges, and had add-ons for scraps, which adds 8 toolbox charges, and also instructions, which eliminates the need for toolbox skill checks. And I use an offering of a fresh primrose blossom, which increases altruism blood points, which are for healing others, rescues, and co-op actions by 75%. The killer was a rank 17 Nightmare, which we will call Freddy for our purposes here. He uses a clawed glove for M1 hits. His power is Dream Demon, which pulls survivors into the dream world. We will talk more about this and what it means during the gameplay. This Freddy chose not to use any of his perks, but used these instead. Tier 2 Unrelenting, which provides a 25% reduction in cooldown of missed basic attacks. Tier 1 Iron Grasp, which reduces struggle effect by 75% and increases time to wiggle out by 4%. Tier 1 Hex Ruin increases generator regression by 100% for all generators while the Hex Totem is standing. And Tier 1 Bitter Murmur, which reveals survivors within 16 meters of repaired generators for 5 seconds and reveals all survivors for 5 seconds after the last generator is repaired. The killer brought a pill bottle which reduces his intermittent vision and invisibility radius related to how he appears in the dream world. The killer also brought a red paintbrush which starts the survivors in the dream world and eliminates the ability to wake up due to failed skill checks. We will talk about these during the gameplay as well. Lastly, the killer offered an ebony memento mori, which means for all 4 survivors, if he hooks them, he can kill them by his own hand. Keep an eye on the offering screen and you can see the killer's offering doesn't flip over, which is a clue he's got the memento mori. If it's Cypress, the killer can kill the last remaining survivor. If it's Ivory, the killer can kill 1 survivor that has been hooked, and the Ebony, the killer can kill any survivor that has been hooked. Here you can see a Bolivia show on the left right away, and then the symbol shows a status indicator on the right. This means the terror radius will be hidden and is the first indicator of our trouble. There is a hazy, washed out look on the game screen, and the character indicators have a halo on them. These are all due to the red paintbrush, which shows by the perk icons in the lower right. This allows the killer to put the survivors in the dream world immediately instead of the regular 60-second countdown that normally occurs. The white outline indicates an alarm clock, which is one means of waking from the dream world. It's one of the best graphical additions this game has. The other means of waking are by having another survivor awake you with a finger snap action or by failing a skill check. However, this last one won't work due to the red paintbrush. I have the instructions add-on for my toolbox, which should prevent skill checks. However, I receive them anyway. If anybody understands why, can you please leave a comment below? Maybe it's related to Freddy's stuff? The first survivor is hooked, so that begins to put pressure on since the killer has a Mori. Without the benefit of the scoreboard, we would still be guessing on which one he has. Once I finish this generator, I should be moving along quickly in case the killer has bitter murmur. We'll see this in play later. The same survivor has been downed again, so we pay attention and we see the insta-kill. So now we know it's either an ivory Mori for one survivor or an ebony Mori for all of them. I failed this skill check, which does a couple of bad things. Freddy just killed his first survivor, so now I've let him know I'm over here. He can teleport here, so I should move. The failed check triggers cursing, shown at right, which tells us there's a hex. And because it triggered when I backed up, we now know it's ruin, which regresses generators not being worked. Here you can see Freddy's dream snare on the other side of the tracks. He either uses snares or pallets, never both. I made a bad play here, waiting by the pallet instead of continuing to loop and then just plain missed it. When Freddy hooks me here, you see it wakes me from the dream world. The character indicator switches to a timer, but the timer will not begin until I am unhooked. I will be at risk for insta-kill if he has an ebony versus the ivory Mori. Here we see another feature of Freddy. When he hits me, it pulls me into the dream world again. Although it didn't matter, with ruins slowing generator progress and a potential Mori, I wasn't optimistic anyway. Normally I could finish the video because I'm dead, but this offers a unique opportunity for spectating, to actually see what perks the remaining survivors are using, and to wait for the scoreboard to get all of the information we're using in this Lessons Learned video. Spectating here allows me the opportunity to watch Nancy loop the killer through several different areas much more successfully than I would. Hopefully she is giving Jake the opportunity to finish the last generator so the exits can be powered. This is a great example of adrenaline. Once the exit gates are powered, Nancy heals one state, and she gets a speed boost that ignores exhausted, which she already had from using sprint burst. The haste icon displayed. Exhausted will see the normal cooldown period, and she awakens though the timer restarts. Also, the ruin hex still shows but is irrelevant because the generators are all finished. Nancy takes a hit here, which leaves her extremely vulnerable, but she has been successful in looping Freddy long enough for Jake to not only finish the last generator, but also to open the exit doors. Jake had opened the gate while Nancy was looping Freddy. He is waiting to see where she is, and he happens to see her with Bond just at the moment she is downed. He has no perks that can help her other than Dead Hard, which will give him a sprint burst, but he needs to take a hit first to activate it. This is her first hook, so he could have taken the hit to save her, but did not. I hope you found some of these beginner tips helpful. If you have any suggestions or corrections, please leave them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this type of content on my channel. I also stream on Twitch on Tuesday and Thursday evenings as well as Sunday afternoons.